Listeners of the deep below, we welcome you to a new story, and as always, ask you to visit the author's work, as well as visit us on other social media platforms. Welcome to the story. One day, my cousins and I were playing in the back garden. It was a warm, sunny day in mid-July. The air was kind of hazy and full of the sounds of summer. Insects hid in the long grass just outside the boundaries of the safe garden. The garden and heat ran right through, without a fence, gate, or any other type of barrier dividing our private back garden to the public. Very busy heat. For example, if you were playing in the back garden and a random person walked past on the way to the heat, they were clearly visible from anywhere within the vicinity of the garden, as well as being very audible, even down to the point if the person knew our family, they were able to conduct a simple conversation with whatever kids were playing there. Gran always told us, all of us, that the area directly outside the limit of the garden was strictly forbidden, and because she knew us, 3 girls, better than the back of her hand, this statement came with an extremely stern warning that if this rule was not followed, we would all receive smacked bottoms. We all abided, even though the 3 of us had adventurous spirits. At the time of this incident, we were all playing on the crazy path that our builder uncles had made to make it easier for my wheelchair to run safely along the ground as I played with the other kids. Elle was pushing me as fast as she could, and I, in turn, I was pushing the ancient family pram that had been there longer than any of us had. We were playing mummies. As usual, being the oldest, our cousin G was mom and picking flowers for the milk bottle in our tree bush in the house. It was more a cluster of bushes at the bottom of the garden, with a clearing which was easier to adapt into a wheelchair-accessible tree house where all us kids played at one time or another. Suddenly, there was a sense of not being alone. I think Elle and I both noticed this at the same time, because we raised our heads and looked in the exact direction where the creeping feeling resonated. Just outside the back garden's entrance stood a strange looking figure. We all said, after the incident, that the figure appeared to be a middle-aged, stocky man, dressed in shabby dark clothes. He called out, We did not answer, as we usually did to passers-by who we knew. The stranger continued,
Lost my dog. Have you seen a little white dog?
being ever protective, G answered curtly. No, we haven't seen any dogs at all. The stranger did not look at G, but kept his attention on Elle and I, although he did respond to G's remark.
Oh dear, will you help me look for her? She is not very old, and she might be lost. She couldn't have gotten too far.
I automatically began to feel uneasy, and I knew Elle felt the same too, as I felt her pull my wheelchair back. I let go of the pram, even though we were a good distance away from the stranger. The stranger was motionless throughout the discourse. Indeed, it was eerie how still he was. G just turned 11, was adamant. I'm sorry about your dog, but we can't help you. We are not allowed to leave the garden. The stranger remained still and measured.
Come on, you won't be away for long. I will pay you £5 if you help.
Just then, our older male cousin came around the side of the house, pushing his bike, followed by a family friend who also lived at the house. They had both returned home from work. Our attention was momentarily distracted away from the figure by the sudden arrival, and when we looked back in the direction the stranger had been, he had completely vanished. Seeing his sister G's perplexed look, our cousin H said, "What's up with you?" We all excitedly told H and our family friend about the strange happening and the man, while the family friend, slightly unnerved by our account, rounded the three of us up and hurried us inside. H immediately marched out of the back garden in the direction of where we said the man must have gone, cursing under his breath about a dirty old man perving on little girls, only to return 20 minutes later, hot, bothered and cross. "Were you three having a laugh or what?" he said angrily. "There was not a man on the way I went in. In fact, I never saw anyone at all. It's too hot to play stupid games, little brats." The three of us were obviously indignant at this slur, as we had all seen and spoken to the same man. Later, when we were in the bedroom with my mom, she asked us about the incident. I still often talk about that day with my mom and cousins. We still have no idea where the strange man could have gone, or who he was.